until we get back home. I'm not the only desire for the road. Are you ready to take on? Welcome to the show. Did you know that your mouth is up? The king of the West. Yeah. Welcome to the show. I've been on the road. On the road again. I'm still alive. How is that possible? How is he alive? That's weird. Anyway, that should have been on vibrate. It was on vibrate. How dare thee. New York. Is anyone, and the only people that called me are people that go, great news, you've been approved. I'm like, what for? And they're like, they're not really listening to me. And I'm like, wait, is this a robot? Which makes me feel like maybe one day when the robots take over and plug us in, because it's up to you. It's your choice, you know, the Matrix. Yeah, the Matrix does not decide whether you become Ben Affleck, you know, or Kim Kardashian. It's you. It's like, what did you get plugged into? You can make it yours. You can make anything you want happen in this world because this world is not real. We're already in the Matrix. Are we, though? I don't know. No one really knows until you take the red pill. And no one's, you know what I mean? I'm not good friends with... what's that guy's name?
Keanu Reeves?
No, you idiot. No, dude. I'm in the Matrix right now. The guy, Magnesium. No. Magnesium. It'd be better. Megatron or whatever he's... Morpheus. There you go. Yeah. I don't know Morpheus. He's not reaching out to me via email. So I can't really get the red pill. But do I want the red pill, you know? If I'm the one, do I want to be the one? Because when you think about it, there's a lot of work, you know? A lot of us are like pretty content just sitting around doing nothing. You know, and some of you can be like, don't put me in that box. Like, you know, I mean, I will, you know? Because it's not easy, you know? It's not easy to be the one. And it's like, be careful what you wish, you may regret it. Careful what you wish, you just might get it. That's Metallica.
Hey, speaking of the one, camera in the corner, camera one, that's going to be your camera today. Stick to that one.
When it all crashes down, point your finger, but there's no one around. With your crown came nothing. That's what that song is. Yeah, but I feel like a lot of people would be happier with mediocre so that you don't, you know, because I like donuts on the couch. I also like, you know, like jumping 60 feet in the air on a skateboard while spinning around in the air. Both of them are enjoyable. But one of them took so much work to get there. And as a person that has done both, I can honestly say that at the actual moment where you're on the couch and you go, donut. That's pretty good. Versus whoosh, through the air, land, and then you got to do a big backsit on the other side, which is even scarier. But when you make all that, it does feel better. It does. But I think the best part about doing a 60-foot 360 into like a, 16, 17-foot backs of air is the donut on the couch after you've done it. Because as a guy that has done a donut on the couch after doing nothing, doing a donut on the couch after doing something really difficult, you, excuse me, you can't imagine that a donut could be that good, It's kind of like, always being attracted to hoes. Always finding sexual attraction in hoes, and wanting to hoe off all the time and thinking that the hoe off is really the be all end all. And then one day you get yourself all fixed up, you strip yourself down from everything that you've ever thought you were into, and you start to like really adjust and pay attention to what it is that you enjoy in your life, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you sleep good at night. And then you fall in love with a well-adjusted person that is not a hoe. And you're like, wait, is this what it's supposed to be like? And that is a different feeling. I'm not saying one is better than the other, really. I'm just saying that it's kind of like, I'm just analogies after analogies, but it's kind of like, you eat a cake when you're older, you feel sick right after it. If you eat something healthy, you feel good. But if you eat unhealthy all the time, then you make adjustments. It's kind of like when you drink alcohol. Like people that drink a lot of alcohol, they just keep drinking and they don't really feel that bad. But if you haven't drank for a long time and you drink, it'll mess you up, It's like people that get sober from hard drugs and they go back to hard drugs and they die because their body's like, whoa, dude, we don't do that much heroin, and then next thing you know, they're gone. See, I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I will talk about being on the road, and it's weird, It really is a weird. Comedy it's not for the weak. I'll tell you that, Like as a guy that's had professional fights and, I've been beaten up and I've broken bones come out. Compound fat, I've had bones come out of me skin, mate. Pretty horrific. I've had head tattoos from like heavy-handed old school guys where I was like, that really hurts. I've had heartbreak, loss, family, I'm not saying I've been through the most, but I'm just saying I've had a pretty good taste of like what pain is, And I know like how I had a real job. I've had as what you would call a real job. I've had a real job. Not easy. Monotony is probably the hardest part of a real job. When I say real job, I mean, carpenters and plumbers and electricians and, office jobs and behind the counter, supermarket people, those jobs. I've had some of those jobs. Man, checkout chick is not cool. Shout out to the checkout chicks. Shout out to the checkout dudes. Because it's like the reverse. Like, you get, you're like, you should, it's like a lady's job, It's not a lady's job. It's just, you get that weird feeling. I would imagine it's kind of like when you're a male inliner, I'm just kidding. You guys are great. I like it when you grab your boots and you pretend that it's not stuck to your feet. That's pretty cool. But being on the road, you travel a lot. I got sick when I was on the road. That happens to me a lot. Probably, being old. Also, my birthday, skating, fighting, all that stuff. I was just tired for 2 days after it, and then I got on a plane. So I was pretty burnt out, and then got on a plane. And I think also getting up real early, staying up late, so you don't get that much sleep, time change. Obviously, planes, people are full of, disease-riddled humans. But yeah, being there and driving, I was driving first night 2.5 hours, I believe it was, to the venue. And the venue is, because when you don't know, it doesn't matter. But when you start to know, you can be picky with things, So like when I get there, they're like, we don't have a green room. You're just in a corridor. And I'm like, okay. And I have a manager, and my manager used to say, Jason needs a rider. And I just have this thing where I don't really feel like I've earned a rider, Like, I think that I'm fairly new to comedy, and I don't like, Jason, your kombucha is here. I'm like, dude, really? Like, no, don't say that to me. Like, or your fruit plate. I'm like, fruit plate? Like, you're basically, that's what I am, a fruit plate. It's just douchey. So I don't want anything. And it's like, you don't want anything. I was like, well, I guess water and coffee. But I was sort of like under the impression, like, if you don't have any water and coffee, I'll just go get it. But long drives in rental cars. And also the east coast of Canada, you guys don't have freeways. Like, your traffic is bad, and we got way more people. You talk smack on LA, dude. We move, dude. Like, yes, it's crazy traffic. Like, when people post, oh, LA, I can't stand it, you're in traffic. Go to Toronto. Traffic is ridiculous all day. There's not even a rush hour. It's just shit all the time. And, bruh, if you're in the fast lane going slow, move over. But nah, they don't do it. Shout out to Germany. Not because they're racist, but because when they're in the fast lane and you come up and they're going slow, they move out of the way. Same with Australia. Shout out to Australia. But even though Australia now has been, as far as I'm concerned, it's been pussified. Because you get tickets for going fast. And it's like, if you're going fast, then you get there quick. And if you get there quick, you're on time. And then nothing's late. And everything keeps moving efficiently. But nah, you want to slow us down. Why are you trying to slow us down? Use a bitch-ass bitch. Bill Maher telling the guy from the Shameless show, he was like, I love Shameless. That was a great era for me. I used to ride my motorcycle to work every day. And he's like, you ride a motorcycle? Oh, really? Like, what kind of an idiot are you? Like, you know how dangerous that is? I'm like, you're like 70, dude. And you smoke blunts all day and drink alcohol. You're a fucking bitch. You know what I mean? You're not that strong. You're not that cool. You're not that smart. You're a gross old man that likes touching younger women. Not underage, but still, you're gross. You want to come on things all the time because of your own little insecurities. You probably got a little dick, bitch ass. I know that you don't know. Shut up. You're not that cool. You never put it on the line, and don't be disrespecting people for putting it on the line. Riding moto on the streets, yeah, you could die. You could die. Vending machines kill more people than sharks. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but it's true. You drink all day. You're numb to your own bullshit. Maybe if you sobered up for a couple of months, you realize maybe you should shut the fuck up, you douche. You think you're so shit hot? Nobody's that shit hot. Actually, I read. Line up. Everybody reads, except me. Beat your ass with a book, pussy ass bitch. Fuck Bill Maher. And I'm not, I'm joking. He's probably a good guy. You right there, dude? Yeah, but that's kind of close to my genitals. Just chill. But anyway, I'm in this corridor, and they give me a coffee, and they give me a glass of water. And that was the other thing. Brandon was like, you need liquid death. And I'm like, they don't have liquid death in Canada. And I'm like, don't demand fancy stuff. And then she said to me, I remember this. She said, Shane Gillis doesn't ask for a rider, but his manager always gets him one. I'm like, you just said Shane Gillis. I'll tell you what, when I'm the number one selling comedian in the country, then you can get me Liquid Death. I'm like, dude, nobody knows me, and that's fine. It's better than fun. I've never been more. I think the more I work on my sobriety, the more I'm like, I don't care if you care. I don't care if you listen to the show. I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you love me. I really don't care. And it's like, oh man, I love you, and you're gonna say you don't care. I'm not saying it in a mean way. I'm just being I'm being rational. Like it's not that important for people I don't know to love me. It's like a sign of insecurity that I need people that I don't know to say they love me. It's like an illness, and I think a lot of famous people suffer from this illness where they need, a pat on the back for doing stuff. That's why they do stuff. I love comedy, man. I love writing jokes. But I love making a joke that I didn't know I was going to make that was funny. That is something that means more to me. There's like a satisfaction that I get. And thanks to my sobriety, when that happens, I can analyze that it happened while continuing to do comedy. So there's like a lot going on in here, and I'm aware of all of it while it's happening, and that would not be possible if it wasn't for my sobriety. So the next show, the next night, also the first night, there's no stage. There's a big light in the middle. The roof is high. And these are all things that I would not know, but now I know because I do stand-up comedy a lot. And, sorry, I'm sick. I'm just pushing. I just keep pushing. Every set I did in Canada, I was sick. Just kept going. I'm on planes, sick. I'm doing the same thing that whoever gave it to me, I'm giving it to everybody else. Yeah, the room is not great. People do, the radio show, man. A lot of people, I think that we might get some new subscribers to the Patreon, patreon.com/Ellis, mate. A lot of Canadians under the impression that I used to have a show still, not aware that I have a show. A lot of people, if it's not in the car, then that's the end of that. Which, let's face it, no hate on SiriusXM, but that is it's an older device, when it comes to listening to your talk entertainment is what I would call it these days. We now use the internet instead of the satellite, and before that, the radio. And after this, there will be, it'll probably just be in your mind, There'll be no device. It'll just be like a thing in your mind where it's just like, I want to listen to, Dick Wad and Crab Cakes. And it's like, because that's probably one of the bigger shows in the future. And then, off you go listening to it. You probably can see it in one eye while you're looking at the other. Or something like that, I think. And that's when the robots really take over because they're inside your mind. And when you think about it, we're already pretty close to being robots because, somehow you've been tricked into thinking that Skechers is a shoe that you would purchase. Somehow you think that McDonald's is like good because millions of you buy burgers from there. And it makes you slower and more beatable and more gullible and easy to take over. And the more they get that stuff into you, the more you're like, you know what? Maybe Katy Perry is one of the greatest musicians alive, and maybe I will spend hundreds of dollars on a ticket to go see her. I recently listened to the most famous musician in the world, that lady that fucks football players or whatever. And I listened to, I was trying to pick a song to play for in my skateboard video because I thought it'd be funny. So I listened to maybe 30 different songs at the start of them. I don't understand why you like her. Are you maybe it's already over. You know? Maybe we are already robots. Cuz her dream is for you all to love her, and you do. And I just don't see it. I also see a video going around, and it's a bit of a viral thing where they go, this is what music was like in the 90s, and now this is what music is like. See how pussified men have become, and it's usually like a Metallica video or a Pantera video, and then they show MGK. And I'm like, MGK is a pop star. You realize in the 90s there was pop music, right? Like, it's bullshit that you're doing that. Like, no insult to anybody, but like you're saying this is what music was like in the 90s. Well, dude, you don't listen to metal anymore, but there's tons of metal that is just as manly as Metallica and Pantera right now. Right now. I mean, for one, there's Metallica, you dickhead. They're still here. Selling out. Millions of people selling out. Stadiums. Media, man. Making it out like, oh, alpha males are gone because of Machine Gun Kelly. Shut the fuck up. Wham! Wham! Was out. Wham! Machine Gun Kelly. Probably got more manly now. Such a douche, try to convince everybody. And also, everybody that's on podcasting saying, you're not an alpha male. I wouldn't want women in the front line. Most of you, I'm sure there's a couple. I know there's like, the drinker bros and shit where there's a guy, he's in the military. But most of you little whining bitches that are like, oh, women, you're little and breakable. You're not tough. They're the loudest ones. You know? So stupid. Like, are women as strong as men? Like, not usually, no. That's why that's why they don't play tennis against each other or basketball. Ugh. What are we even arguing about? Stop arguing about that. Stupid. But trying to say that every woman doesn't deserve to be in the military is ridiculous. Cyborg. You know? Ronda Rousey can't box, but she'd still beat the crap out of most of you dudes. She beat the crap out of every podcaster that talks about being an alpha male. Except for the guys that are in the military. Shout out to the military. Oh, yeah, I drove 3.5 hours to London. Barry, not a lot happening in Barry, but shout out to Barry. London, whoa, that's not a lot going on there. And then Hamilton. Hamilton is... I don't know. You don't even get to see it when you're a comedian. You just go around doing comedy and then you like hide in your room and you go eat something. I ate a boiling bowl of oxtail and it was fun. It made me sweat profusely. Oh, I'm dying. A homeless man came out. Not a homeless man, a junkie. Weird. You know what I find? I don't like it when junkies think that they're going to bro down with me. Right? No. It's an insult, you know? It's like if some racist guy was like, brother. I'm like, no. I'm not a racist guy. Stop it. Junkie, I'm like, dude, bruh, no. Maybe it's because it scratches a nerve, you know? Because I am a junkie that is retired. Kind of like, bit of a homo that is retired, you know? Because as you know, there's no coming back from that. But yeah, I'm a little bit aggressive, but also I think that you need to, get the message across. And I was like, no, I am not interested. He's like, you don't even know what I'm going to say yet. And I was like, I do. You want money? Go away from me. I'm not interested. He's like, what's up, bro? Seriously? I was like, bro, you're a fucking junkie. Get the fuck away from me. And he was like, really? And then I'm telling you, man, if you step, I will put you down. That's it. I'm taking no smack, no back talk. I won't take it. And you'll know it, and you won't do it because we're all full of shit. Nobody's willing to back it up. No one's willing to put in the work. That's why I can't even remember her name, and I'm so pumped on it. But the greatest pop star in the world, the lady that had sex with the football player, like she must be so driven, and has had failures in her life, and just keeps pushing, and has turned it into this thing where she is so entertaining that you film her at a football game instead of the football game. So congratulations to her, but also hellacious insecurities. Why do you need to be that famous? You know, because fame is stupid. You know, I can tell you, as a person that has had like millions of dollars a year for being cool, people name their children. Somebody said to me in Canada, they named their child recently. A recent child has been named. Oh, you typed it, Taylor Swift. Yeah. That's her name. Good for her. But it's an insecurity to want people you don't know to love you, you know? Is it fun to, like, would I like to be involved in successful comedy like Bert Kreischer, where they're on private jets and they stay in fancy hotel rooms and they go to, like, they do cool things before they do the comedy show? Yeah, that sounds cool. You know, or do I want to be alone? You know, alone. That's the other thing. We say we're alone a lot when we're by ourselves. Are you alone? You know why you think you're alone? Because you're not with God. But God is there for you. Shouldn't say he. It is there for you. Love is there. Believe. If you believe, then you're never alone. You know, you can always talk. There's always an answer. You just gotta hear it. You gotta open your ears. Yeah. I pray all the time. I get my 3-point stance. And then I say, you know, God. First of all, I say, God, I pray to God for forgiveness. I pray to God for success. I pray to God to help people make the world a better place. I pray to God. And then, and it'll be like, just keep going, man. Just keep pushing. It's all going to work out. And if you think about it, it already has. You know, you got today. You got people around you know you can count on. You love someone, they love you. Things are great. And they're right. You know? And it's the same for all of us. Because I can tell you, you know, being cool, being rich, being fancy, having fancy pants, being hot. I mean, I guess I kind of don't know what that's like. A little bit. I was attractive when I was younger. Not crazy, but I wasn't ugly, you know? So I kind of know what I know what it's like for like somebody that I don't know that is like attracted to me for no particular reason. So I know I do have I know what it's like. So I have had these things, you know. It's different when you read it and experience it. I've experienced a lot of stuff, and I can tell you the most fulfilling, most important thing that is in life is like the love of family and friends. And that is available for most of us. You know, that's the thing where I feel bad for. And there's people out there that really have nobody there for them. And sometimes, did they build that? Is it kind of their fault? Maybe, yeah. But also, are there people that are born into this world that have terrible family members that don't care for them and put them in a situation where there is no friends, there is nobody, a guardian or anybody that they can trust? Is that a thing that happens to people? Absolutely. And do they have somebody that can pass down the knowledge that you're never alone if you believe in God? You know, because I hear it a lot in sobriety where it's like, you know, I'm there. I've told the story, you know, where when I was going through my darkest period, you know, divorce and bankruptcy and all this stuff, and I go home and I'm like, I'm all alone. You know? I'm all alone in this. And the whole time, you know, now looking back, I realized that I was not alone. You know? I have God. You know? And God is in everything. It's just the way the world is designed that shuts you off from hearing God tell you what you should do. Because it's there. The voice is there. You know? The answers are there. You've just got to look into it. It's not even, and to me, it's not a belief. I don't believe in God. I know God, you know? Because believe is like, you know, wishful thinking, you know? I hope there is. I don't hope there is. I know there is. Yeah? Just like I know I'm going to make this trick. I know I'm going to win this fight. I know I'm going to do well in comedy, you know? And when I say, you know, do well in comedy, because this is still a new thing and it's still is a thing that gets in my head. You know, I'm not selling enough tickets. I don't care. It's a weird adjustment, you know? Selling out a venue. The weirdest adjustment is it's okay. It's easy for me to be okay with not selling out. It's way harder for me to be okay with selling out. Like if everybody buys a ticket and I sell out the venue and I don't really care, that scares me. Because I'm like, that's the whole point. And I'm like, got ya. No, it's not. It is not the whole point. The whole point of you doing stand-up comedy is to be good at stand-up comedy and love the ride. Love the journey. Love being on the plane. Love feeling like I'm getting sick. Love that I get in the shower and I get in a 3-point stance and I'm like, feel like shit, suck a butt, dude, get up, rip it up. Be positive, go for it. You're going to make it. And I did. I did good. A guy came up to me at the last show in Hamilton and he goes, man, I'm a huge fan. Always listen to your show. I got you a present. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then he gave me a bag of weed. And I go, hey, man, I appreciate it, but I'm sober. And he goes, yeah, I know. These are gummies. And I looked at him in the eye like, eh? And he was like, it's gummies. And I was like, yeah, THC gummies? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's not sober. I'm like, actually sober. And I could tell he was confused. And he was like, oh, okay. Which brings me back to California sober. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Stop saying that. You're just not sober. And also bragging about being sober. What about all the other people that could just handle it? You know? It's not this. I don't want a pat on the back for being sober. The only reason I talk about sobriety is because if there's people that are struggling with it and they want to get sober, DM me on Instagram and I will tell you the way to do it. Obviously, I do this constantly. And people, most of the time, don't want to hear it because you don't want to hear the hard facts on it. You know? You go to meetings. Oh, I don't know, AA, religion, blah, 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 NA, SA, what, you know, all you guys try to date people all the time. You go out with weird, freaky witches and stuff. And then you wonder why things never work out. Because you always need someone to love and you'll take whatever you can get. Or you try to shoot above your grade so you can walk around with someone where he goes, wow, look what you did. Like you're dating somebody for other people on the planet that don't care about you. They care about themselves. You know this because you're you. We all care about ourselves more than we care about other people. We're always thinking about this. We're thinking about us. Even me trying to help people. I try to help people because if I help somebody, it makes me feel good. So I'm thinking about me. Thought about drinking at the airport. Not really, but I was telling my girlfriend because she's sober, and it was pretty funny. Like, I was just in the airport. I was looking to exchange money, and there's a duty free, and it was like, bottles of alcohol. And I was like, man, I feel sick. If I drank a bottle of whiskey right now, I'd feel better. And I was like, wow, dude, holy shit. There's a monster in you. There is a monster in me just ready to go, dude. I laughed, you know what I mean? I laughed at myself. I was like, because nobody's around. No one's going to know, It's this weird thing that, I'm sure we all have it in, there's levels, It's like, I could smoke crack right now. I could have a drink right now. I could eat a burger right now. I could stay on TikTok longer right now. I could, get somebody else to watch the kids for another hour. Like, there's little things, Like, there's levels of it. But we all do it. We all take pieces of things where it's like, I should be doing this, but instead I'm going to do this because it's going to give me a couple of seconds of satisfaction that I may or may not regret in the near future. And it's just like, these are the things that you don't realize you don't catch unless you sit with your pain. If you don't use things to run and you sit with your pain, you start to understand how you tick. And then you also start to understand that it's pretty similar. Everybody kind of ticks the same way. That's why it's like tough guys. Tough guys, you know why you're tough? Because you had to fight because it was tough when you were a kid. It was sad. You're sad. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for me. Like, I look like a tough guy. Why? Because I'm scared. I built this to protect the scared little child that's inside. It's sad. It's not tough. Tough is sadness. But if you sit with it all, that's why I think I might be one of the greatest people alive today. And I know what that sounded like right now. And you're like, holy cow, dude, easy. I'm like, yeah. Let me explain. I think because I've suffered from so many things and done all the wrong things to deal with it, now that I've had to sit with it and understand how bad of a person I've been to the people that I care about and how I have wasted multiple opportunities, taken things for granted, burned bridges, really made seriously terrible decisions that I'll pay for forever, Now that I am on the other side of that, and it's still new, man. Like, I'm still new. It's 2 years in a month from now. I'll be 2 years of completely sober and out of all of my addictions. And I already, after 2 years, feel like I don't know old Jason. I don't understand how I made it. I really don't. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever really understand. But I can tell you, life is short. Making an effort to help other people, but to be in a situation, that's all the pain and suffering that I've gone through to get on the other side. You can trust me when it comes to how do you get out of this, because I got out of it. And I'm not saying I'm the worst, but I'm up there. Not a lot of people that need help or have been in a deeper hole than I have. And I got out of it. It is not easy, but it can be done. And when you go to meetings, that's why we talk. That's why we're a community, because we listen to each other and we hear stories where you're like, oh my God, that is how is this guy even speaking? How is he making words come out of his mouth that are coherent to the rest of us? We're talking about guys that are, out on the street with like one shoe on, talking to themselves. And now they're like a contributor to society, have children and jobs. Apparently I helped Adam in the chat. Well, that's really what it's about for me now, Can I help Adam? Can I help my kids? Can I, if there's somebody that needs help at the skate park, all the things I do, man, teaching people to skate, teaching people to fight. You get an understanding of all of us, Like, we all tell a story that is not really true, And it doesn't make you a bad person. That's the other thing. We get caught making stuff up or exaggerating or, or not telling exactly the truth. And then, because of social media, it's like, oh, gotcha, you're a lie. You're a piece of shit. You're this, you're that. It's like, we're all the same. We all stretch things, lie, cheat, steal. We all do, Nobody's perfect. Nobody. That's the great thing about us. Nobody's perfect, but every now and then we do something perfectly. And that's so special. And you don't know that unless you've been through it and made it to the other side. You can't appreciate it, You can't appreciate a sunset until the day you think that this is the last sunset you're ever going to see. And it's like, to think you're going to die is a terrible situation. But it's also beautiful. Because it opens your mind to how magnificent the world is, how magnificent life is, and how if you do have a life, that you shouldn't fart it away on TikTok. You shouldn't fart it away at McDonald's. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to attack like any companies. I'm just, you eat clean, you get good sleep, you work out, get your adrenaline up, go for a run. Don't run to the point where you're David Goggins and you have no legs, but a little bit of a jog every now and then. Maybe learn how to skate. Maybe learn how to surf. Maybe go to a sanctuary and meet a wolf and look at it in the eye and see the wild skill, passion of the beast. Lock in. Pray to your God. Pray to your God so much that you hear it talk back. Love your partner. Say nice things to them for no reason at any random part of the day and see them light up and realize how much they love you. And thank the gods that this is a day that you feel that. All right, I'm going to put some Vicks on my nose because my nose is blocking up. And this podcast doesn't come out for the Comedy Store, right? Zach?
It'll be out day after. So Wednesday. So day after Comedy Store.
All right, well, if anybody... Look, again, I don't care. I would way rather all my friends came to this one. But if they don't, people got things to do. People, life makes you busy. But I want to say thanks to everybody in Canada that came out to my shows. You've always been a huge supporter. I love Canada. I love Canadians. And the amount of support I get from you guys is even now, most of you are like, man, is he a comedian? I guess I'll watch. Like, you don't know if I'm working, doing good or, funny. I guess you heard the show, so I got a couple skills, but yeah, it's really cool to see everybody come out, having full rooms in the middle of nowhere. Sorry, Barry, but you're in the middle of nowhere. I drove it. You guys are crazy. But yeah, I got nothing but love for everybody. So yeah, check out my Patreon. I told everybody in Canada, patreon.com/Ellis, mate. Tour dates for comedy, thejasonellis.com, Wolf Knife merch and skateboards and all that stuff. I believe even Hawk versus Wolf limited edition signed by myself and Tony Hawk. Those boards are available on there as well. So grab yourself some merch and have a good day. Don't die.